everybody. I want to say to you, here are 3 steps that will let you know that you may be under attack. And I'm going to say that it's probably a 99% chance that you are. So when we deal with this area of being under attack, the first place and how it starts is going to be with your mind. And that means that you opened yourself up to negativity. You opened yourself up by speaking lack over yourself, by not believing in yourself. And that's just the start. Low self-esteem. Those type of things start from somewhere and it develops a momentum. And so that's one of the challenges. But also that area of the mind can be from your genetics. In the area of your genetics, it can go back 4 generations, your mom and them, your daddy's side. Those things can come to you, affect your mind because it affected their mind. It affected their mind to where it became an issue, became a disease, became an addiction, became an energy of fear, lack, low self-esteem, poverty. So now that it's with you, you got it honestly. But then there could be such a thing, what I call a self-perpetuating thing. Because you can be at the 3rd or 4th generation in your family challenge, and it's supposed to leave with you, or it's supposed to leave with your parents. But because you were in their environment, you saw what they did, you accepted those type of negative things that if they went through it, so do you. Now that attack is on you because you agreed to it. You accepted it. So now what do? In that area of what we do from here, we got another level. Because now that we understand that the attack is coming for the mind, what happens in this area of this attack after the mind, that mind also goes into the emotions. The emotional area happens to be with your body. That emotional area is like the next step, step 2. Because once the mind starts to do certain things, act certain ways, it brings toxins. When the mind has low self-esteem, when the mind has fear, it responds that same thing with the fear. On the flip side, when your mind sees someone do something good, it makes you feel good. When your mind sees a good movie, it makes you feel good. But when you have so much of negativity, you start to feel a certain way, then there's an intelligence. There's a energy. There's a spirit that hangs around you because one of your attitude, and then because of your attitude, it has a excuse me, it has a legal right to bring havoc to your body. That legal right that happens to the body, when we have, and here's a study that I read up from this particular doctor, a more excellent way. In his book, he said that many diseases, especially when it comes to cancers, breast cancer mainly, it's usually bitterness between 2 women. Now that was surprising to me. And I started to practice when a lady said to me that she had that type of issue. I learned that if the problem was in the left chest, it was a blood relative. If it was in the right chest, in-law, co-worker, neighbor. So as I started to understand this, I started to have high results where people will come back with a positive report about how they went to the doctor, got the report, and the doctor said that issue is not there. Now it started with the mind. Because of bitterness, if it was a blood relative, it was in the right chest. Bitterness with your mama, bitterness with your sister, it was opened up in the right chest. The left chest, in-law, co-worker, neighbor. So now, when it was with the left chest, the in-law, the co-worker, the neighbor, I met this lady who had in the right chest, and she said to me, she told me that it was in the right chest, and I heard these words in my heart, and I know that these were eternal words. That said, it was very simple. 3 words: the other woman. Now, this is not the only time I've heard the word of God come to me in being a blessing for someone. This is the way of saying it's a prophetic word. So the prophetic word was the other woman. Another time I had a prophetic word that said the doctor didn't get all the cancer out of that particular lady's body. Who's going to tell that lady that the doctor didn't get all the cancer, God? I'm supposed to tell her because that's what he said. Well, in this case, he said the other woman. So now that I'm used to how God speaks, I got to respond to this lady. And the way I responded to her, I say, look, I believe that you have bitterness with the other woman. And I believe that if you can forgive her, the cancer will leave. Can you do that? That's how I said it to her. And she responded and looking at me, she said, just like I'm looking at you. She said, yes, I can. My response to myself, not to her, wow, I nailed it. Not that I nailed it, but I did. I heard God, I trusted him, and I trusted him, his plan, his strategy on how to say it to her. The way I said it was, look, I believe that you have an issue with the other woman. Not, I didn't say you got an issue with the other woman, because if I would have said it like that, it would have opened the door for her to say, no, I don't. And she would have kept that issue in her body. She would have kept that sickness in her body. And it may have taken her life, because that disease can do that. But because of how I said it, I disarmed the enemy. I disarmed her. I took responsibility of her situation by saying, I believe you have issues with the other woman, and I believe that God can heal you. And in many cases, most cases, I say that my God can heal you. She said she felt a burning sensation in her chest. Once I heard that, I knew she was good, but we needed proof. What was the proof? Go get checked by your doctor. That lady had a doctor's appointment because I asked, when do you have that appointment? She said in 3 days. Get checked by your doctor. After she got checked by her doctor, she shared with me they couldn't find it. And I have at least 20 cases like that. But notice now how that spiritual attack came. That bitterness with the other woman now, it still was the mind, but it came from a situation that the husband brought in to affect the body. There was another one where this lady had, I believe it was Crohn's, lupus, one of those autoimmune system diseases. And I know that that disease normally affects people. Same study, a more excellent way, Dr. Wright. That disease happened to affect people that have daddy issues. I've memorized a lot of these things, and I utilize it to assist me in being a blessing to people, and I always say to them, go get checked by their doctor. Why is that important? Because when I say to them, go get checked by the doctor, one, I believe that God healed them, but I can't say that you're healed because I'm not a doctor. That's very close to practicing medicine without a license. So I have to take all of that and put it on Jesus, the one who does the healing. This is one of those moments where there is a separation between church and state. So by me working with the church, I have authority if I can articulate it accordingly and properly. And when we deal with Dr. Wright, iron sharpens iron. The studies that this doctor has put together, he's not with us anymore, but if I had the chance to meet him, I will share with him my findings because of the introduction of his work. And the findings that I have, oh my goodness, when you get into the glory realm of our Father, which is what I'm speaking over your life. So with this area of this particular situation that another lady had, the autoimmune system, the lupus, the Crohn's, multiple sclerosis, those three are daddy issue diseases. And so I'm interviewing about this area, this lady concerning her sister who had the disease. The sister wasn't there. And I asked about daddy issues, and the sister said, no, my sister does not have daddy issues. I said, well, that's what the study says. But then she said to me as I'm listening, but she has issues with her husband. Now, if you said her husband, I would believe you. And instantly, an answer came from the Spirit. I had to hear that how I did from the lady. The answer was the husband can be a father figure to the wife based on protection, based on how a daddy is with his daughter, to protect, to provide, right? So if that was the status that this man had with his wife and she honored him as she would her daddy, that's what the wedding is when the father gives the bride to the daddy, to the groom. He now takes over that responsibility and she honors him in that same manner as though he's daddy. Well, he broke that off, and so now she has daddy issues, but it's actually through the husband, not the daddy. And the daddy didn't have the revelation, as I'm sharing, and how to break that issue that's on her or that curse. Doesn't have it. So when she said that, I'm like, wow, that makes so much sense. So I restructured the prayer according to this new information. Now, what's wild about that, the very next day I had a situation that came forth, and the situation was I met this lady who had the same disease. And she didn't have daddy issues either. So I immediately knew it because I just went through it. It's amazing how God does that. And I said, look, it's your husband. And look, it shook her by me saying he was the problem and why she had the disease. And that's because he attempted to take her life by poisoning her with a particular substance. And so at some point he took his life when it started to be exposed. Military man. And I shared with her on how to forgive, but the forgiveness, we're going to give this to God. She accepted it. The good news with her was the pain and the issues that she was dealing with was gone. The next step, as I said to you with the previous person, go get checked by the doctor. The symptoms of what her problem was gone, and she had so much that her body had went through. She was on her way to be a doctor. And because of the acts of her husband, she lost all of that because her body, another attack, the attack went after the mind, and also, which was his mind, the two were one, which affected her mind, and then aggressively affected her body. The doctor thought that it was because of the lupus that she was having, or the arsenic brought on the lupus, is what she thought. But technically, yes, but no. It was the husband, the daddy figure, the father figure. This was breakthrough. And number three, so we're dealing with the mind, we're dealing with the body. And number three, I got about 2 minutes to share this with you. The number three aspect here is going to be your relationship with others, but not just the relationship with others, family members. For some reason, things don't seem to be working right with your family. Somebody has a bad attitude, and more than likely it's you. That area has to be corrected from within, even if it's them. Ask the Father to forgive that scenario off of you. Take responsibility, even though you may not be wrong. They may be the one that's wrong, but take it so that area can be corrected. Because if you don't do that, whatever they put on you, not deliberately, but it was in the spiritual realm and it's affecting you. So now when you go out for jobs, it's not working. When you're dealing with money, it's not working. Everything seems to be negative. And also there's a lack of hope. There's a lack of confidence. And it's a fear to move into new ventures. It's a fear to move in creative aspects, new jobs, new assignments. There's no hope to go to the next level. Some of these things can be affected you genetically based on situations that's preventing you from breaking through that glass ceiling. Some of that can be culturally, that's preventing you from breaking through that glass ceiling. And so what the enemy wants, when he knows that you're in the season of the blessing now, he still wants you to be in agreement with the negative. Just like that elephant that had the rope around its its foot, and it couldn't move when it was a child, but yet now here it's an adult. You put that rope on it, and you can find a little plastic cup and wrap it around that cup. That elephant ain't gonna move. It ain't gonna attempt to move around that. And that's how the enemy wants to deal with the mind in this season. So many of us are blessed because the genetic challenge has been removed. The curse has been removed. That area of spells that people have placed upon you has been removed. The spells that come from different communities all throughout America that was assigned to come at you, it's been removed. That's the season that we're in. This blessing is there. So I share that with you. And this is what I want you to do. Give us a comment, all right? Share with us what you're going through, what your thoughts are. And as I read it, I'll respond and I'll say a prayer with you. But also, I want you to go into our link, go into our description, and go ahead and go to From Haunted to Healed. And for whatever you're dealing with, we have a training course. We have a supernatural therapy session, because I'm your supernatural coach and I'm going to coach you through it. I'm going to spend time with you. So come be a part of our program, and what we have will be a blessing to you. If you want to join our tribe, make sure you subscribe. I enjoyed having you to be a part of my evening. Enjoy.